What's your definition of woke? That's something I don't know really what the definition of woke is.
It's interesting. So if you if you go back in time, I'll simplify it this way before I get into it.
I know what the general definition of woke is, and it has to do with inequality and stuff like that. But is that how the right generally refers to it?
I think of it as
so
when you think you're enlightened, but you're not, kind of
well, thing. Perhaps it's the simple definition colloquially for the right is an ideological cult with no clear aims or goals masquerading as a social justice movement is one simple way to define it. The harder way to break it down is going back in time. The culture war starts with intersectional feminism, which is elements of wokeness. It then evolves into the greater critical race theory, which then starts adopting elements of critical gender theory, and now has become this big amalgam of all of these. They're not necessarily all Marxist derivatives, but to a certain degree they are. And the way I see it, if I was going to define it if I was talking to somebody who already understood and agreed with me, I'd define it as fire. Something that's just consuming and destroying and eventually will wipe us all out. It's not so simple as to be like, it's just something that makes someone happy. No, it's quite literally like they say that a simple example, and they're all grains of sand making a heap. You can't say woman, it's offensive, it's not inclusive. So you need to say women with a Y because women are not men. Then they say, actually, that's offensive. You should say wimixin with an X because that includes this.
I say woman, so I mean.
But my point is, like, you end up with issues where people are getting banned from Twitter because they said, okay, dude. And this person is no longer allowed to.
Is there actually an example of that?
Zuby got suspended from Twitter for saying,
because the person identified as something else.
And he wasn't misgendering. He was having an argument, and they said something and went, okay, dude. Like, he was disputing.
Yeah, I think that's too far.
But this has been too far for 10 years. And it's getting to the point now where, it starts with saying things like, hey, we shouldn't be censoring people because they have these opinions. And then it leads us to Hunter Biden's laptop is leaked. It's got damning videos and information that implicates Joe and Hunter Biden, whether they're guilty or not, implicates. And multiple polls have come out showing that if the American public had been made aware of the information on that laptop, I think it's between 6 and 7% said they would not have voted for Joe Biden. Theoretically, that would mean that Donald Trump was president. Now, that's massive. Yeah. And so that means that all of these issues we've been concerned about with the hate speech rhetoric, which is like the idea that we should ban hate speech, is all a component of wokeness. Twitter then implements policies based on this. Twitter then uses that for political advantages. And now we know for a fact that for the most part, it was Democrats leaning on Twitter for favors. Republicans did sometimes as well. But because the Twitter staff was overwhelmingly San Francisco liberals, Democrats were, and in government too, like the Biden administration actively are using the private sector as a weapon against their political opponents. And what we view as wokeness is now just like, you can say woke or you can say red pilled, you can say left or right. We're seeing a total bifurcation of our culture.